conversation you're having about the things he said about the 10-year-old girl, to me, is at the very heart of why this is a problem. How many times, and I have 3 boys and a daughter, how many times have you looked at a young man and said, wow, is he going to be, he's a beautiful young man. Wow, he's a gorgeous young man. And that man was 12, 13, 14, 15.
I'll be honest,
or he's a beautiful...
Zero.
You were let go from ESPN after sharing a meme on Facebook, a man dressed as a woman. The caption, quote, let him into the restroom with your daughter or else you're a narrow-minded, judgmental, unloving, racist bigot who needs to die. You're going to have to defend that post to a lot of progressive voters. You're also going to have to defend retweeting an image that likened 5 to 10% of Muslims worldwide, which computes to about 80 million Muslims, to Nazis. Are those...
No, that's not true. That's not true. No, I compared I compared Muslim extremists to Nazis. That extremist part is, I know it's tricky, but that's the part that gets left out by everybody. There is a very long-standing connection between Islam and the Nazi Party, and you can go back to before the Second World War.
Former MLB pitcher Curt Schilling has been off, if you will, for a very long time now. And it doesn't seem like he's letting up on what certainly sounds like hatred anytime soon.
We're up against a side and a force that doesn't play by the rules, refuses to play by the rules, just look no further than the unconstitutional legal thing going with former President Trump. And we're not doing anything about it. We're talking about it, and we get excited and we get emotional. That's it. They break the law. They do the things they need to do to ensure their agenda is driven forward, and we're watching them gut our nation from the inside out.
Just from this brief segment, from his appearance with Jesse Waters, you can already tell Schilling is using the RNC focus group tested methods to rile up the voter base, demonizing the other political team by arguing from an alternative set of facts while fear-mongering over the destruction of our country, which is really a dog whistle. It's used a lot by white supremacists, by the way. Schilling and others use the tactics to slip in more sinister comments.
The young men that signed the Constitution and all the things that they sacrificed everything to come out from under a tyrannical government. And then eventually at some point there was a man at Concord who decided he was going to pull the trigger. And I feel like we're getting back to a point where somebody's going to have to pull a trigger because everything we hold dear, everything this country was founded on, is being just dragged through the mud and mocked and made fun of.
So not only is Schilling spewing ahistorical garbage and playing into the perceived patriotism of Fox News viewers, he is doing so in what sounds like an attempt to call for violence and for viewers watching to take action. The juxtaposition of the shot heard round the world with his rhetoric about our nation collapsing, that's a sly way for Schilling to cover himself legally while communicating what he really wants to say, but knows he better not.
Well, I'm going to assume that you mean pull the trigger metaphorically.
Absolutely. Well, no, I mean, it doesn't matter if I say metaphorically because they're going to run with that quote no matter how I put it. I could have phrased it in any possible way saying stand up and fight and blah, 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 and I would be inciting a riot. And the problem is that the left's winning because the left is relying on our morals and ethics. They know we'll play by the rules. They know we'll follow the laws.
From all that we've seen so far from Schilling, this may be the most laughable claim he's made. So gerrymandering, voter suppression, redlining, segregationism, embracing far-right and white nationalist hate groups, weaponizing law enforcement against protesters, trying to overthrow the government. All that's playing by the rules. Okay, think you get the picture of just how big of a farce that statement from Curt Schilling is, and for someone who is claiming, remember this, to take the moral high ground, no less.
To jump to the point where you're insinuating like something like pedophilia or a molestation is where you're going with this, because he's joking about, well, when she gets older, I'm going to date her. I mean, how do you get from there to being revolted and disgusted?
Yeah, you know, I don't look at a young boy and say, in 10 years, I'm going to date him.
Well, we don't, but you don't actively look for that.
And I think that would be pretty sad if I did.
Anybody associated with the Nazi Party, anybody associated with white nationalism, anybody associated with racism isn't on the right. They're racist. That's not right. It's just like the people, the violent wing of the BLM. They're not left. They don't represent Democrats or liberals. They're racist. And so those people all go together, and there is evil on both of those sides, whatever you want to call it. But neither side, Americans aren't on either side.
And when someone tries to both sides, white supremacy and those fighting against it, that's really all you need to know about how they really feel. about the current state of our country. Curt Schilling is a perfect example of just how far gone some people are, how far gone some Americans are, and just how brazen they've become, and making sure we get to hear it since Donald Trump's rise to power.